So what's going on YouTube? Today I want to show you some exciting pieces. Something we've been doing in the mastering studio that if somebody tries to copy me, oh well, but it's an incredible sound. And, you get into working on people's music a lot and you start to realize that there's certain things that are beneficial. And this is one, and by the grace of God, I've been able to put these two in the rack, and I'm actually rebuilding. I'm pretty much rebuilding the studio. I have the Mog, which gets used a lot, the Portico, the Master Bus, the 1073s, 1073 EQs, and 2264s, SSL EQs, SSL Bus, Summing. We have the 10M. That's an amazing piece of gear. The Pure 2, right now I just have the Pure 2 on. I didn't really want this thing to warm up and stuff just for the video. I'm just trying to do a quick video. It's going to be really cool. I want to show you how smooth this piece right here is. So this is the Rupert Neve Portico 2. I did this on a whim because I had a massive passive, and I'm actually looking forward to purchasing another massive passive. I got rid of it for a little bit, and I was like, you know what, I'm going to get another one, because I believe that the person that worked at Manly, his name was Hutch. I just know him by Hutch. I think he actually teamed up with Rupert Neve on this, and he might have done it on this as well. Let me talk about this real quick, though, because this thing's super cool, and I don't really get to see much in the studio on it, or on YouTube, or online, or anywhere. So I know I'm not getting like dead on the knobs. I'm not doing a product video. I'm doing more of a sound demo. I'm going to try to open up and capture the screen here in a minute. But dude, this is your trim knob. So this is your line amplification up top. But then right here you have your mic amp. So that goes all the way up to 66 actually. That is a lot of gain. I mean, you can do a lot of things with that. This has a through, it has a DI. You can actually lift the ground. Has a high pass filter in, side chain high pass filter. That sends that directly here. So if I wanted to compress just like 220 and up, or 120 and up, or 80 and up, then I could do that. So that's a really neat feature. You can all EQ in, so you can bypass the whole entire EQ section just to hear it. And then you can actually make the EQ after the compressor. So usually it's EQ compression, but in this case some people want to compress then EQ. That gives you the option to do that without having to change a bunch of stuff or try to rerun it or remix it. The RMS peak feature is the same on this. The link features, the ratio, the threshold, the silk red and silk blue, those are different tones. When I use the silk red, I'll show you how it works, but the silk red adds like a mid-range presence. It's really good if you send me something to master and you like where your mix is and you just want to add a little bit of presence in the mix. That does that very well. But today I would usually be running it in WaveLab, okay, but I'm doing it independent so I can capture the screen. This is what's cool about this. What I'm going to be doing is, this is mid-side processing, okay? So between this mid and side, it's not going to be identical. It's not going to be exact, okay? Because I actually use the software to encode and decode. But you're gonna see me manipulate the stereo field in a few different ways, and by doing that, you actually, it's like I'm all excited. You can actually hear the difference. Now this other thing is this in this video, so I'm not crowding all the Rupert Neve. I just have this little Heritage Audio deal. And I'm going to use this. Dude, this is a great company. We have Freddie DeMarco that I've worked a lot with. His studio is packed with stem session, mixing session equipment. He has a lot of warm audio stuff. He has, the Vox boxes, the Manly Varimu, real 2As, API stuff. I mean, the list goes on and on. So between the two of us, we've really combined and made some really great stuff happen around this area and around the country and into other countries. So right now we've been working on film and production, things like that. That's been taking a lot of my time. So when people are like, man, where the heck did that dude go? That's where I went. I had a lot of stuff going on. So without further ado, I'm going to try to pop open this final cut. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to manipulate this signal with the actual equipment here. See, even with this, why I like the Portico stuff, let me, sorry guys, I was even on. Oh, didn't get to see how I made it sound like that. No, what I did there real quick, I'll redo it. Let me do the same thing. So I just boosted the EQ. I'll do it again. You guys are like, what the heck? I can't even see the gear. So this is the EQ section. The room, presence, de-esser. Compression is so smooth, man. Now, quick note, I'm doing the post compression. Watch what happens. So sometimes you do want to EQ after the compressor. Check this out when I take it out. It gets a little duller. In that case, the sidechain did not work. This is pretty much, you know, material that I don't think you have to use this. But let's say it was like a big hip hop song or something, and I want to drive that 808 to the front. I'm going to allow that to have dynamics. So here's a little mixing trick for you. We'll allow that to have dynamics, and in the process of having dynamics, I can leave the low sub information all the way from like 120, 80, 60, 55. But then I could send the other information to the compressor. So that's what that sidechain's doing. That's actually a similar thing on this, but this sidechain's set at 125. So when I hit these two, it's literally set, and then you forget it. So you can actually feed it with external gear. So I could, like, in my patch bay, I could route, let's say, like this EQ or something, to actually impose that EQ curve on the master bus processor, which is the bottom piece here. So yeah, there's so many cool things I can do with this rack, and I'm telling you, like, so many years doing this, that this sound came together when I started doing it this way, where a lot of the records that I was hearing that were coming in, like the mids was really pinched and the sides are really, you know, muffled, and I'm like, man, you could EQ and EQ and EQ, but it ain't gonna change anything. You know, it's not gonna make it sound better. So this process, let me go through it one more time and show you what I would do. So if I'm gonna EQ something, I'll show you what the sides sound like, and I'll manipulate this and see. You can see the or understand what mid side is. So you might have to put some headphones on because the stereo field will be pulling Like I said, I usually do this with an encoder and a decoder, actually within Wavelab. But this, I'm manipulating from this being on the left channel, and actually the heritage audio is on the right channel. So when I encode it, this is the middle, the heritage is the sides. No, it's not always that. I'm not saying I'm doing that for people's masters. What I am saying, though, is it's pretty cool. So check this out. So this is when that silk red comes in very handy. So say you're messing with this violin and you're like hearing a little bit of sharpness in that, which obviously in this one that's not really the issue. But if I had this silk, watch what happens. So once she starts. All these have their purpose. So I'll just spend another few seconds with this, really tweaking these EQs so you can hear that. That was the video today. I just wanted to show you some of this Rupert Neve stuff. This is incredible, man. If I was starting a studio, if I had a choice and wanted to get some quality channel strips, I mean, there's a lot of them out there. The Vox boxes, what's the Shelfer they just came out with? There's all kinds. Avalons. But this one's really good for I would say for the whole source, for everything. So we're actually going to get another one, and that'll be that. So we're actually in the midst of that, and I wanted to do the video while I had one because it's just incredible. So once again, man, you're going to hear the middle, and I'm gonna really try to, try to push its limits here real quick. So let's do that, and I want to say a few things. Like always. Watch the bass. There's no bass in this really. Yeah, there's bass in the piano. Now this is where I would add this. Hold on a second. The air band. And it takes on a whole new life. You know what I mean? Show you real quick, like that is a big deal when it comes to film and creating thrill, and there's a lot of EQs out there. Well, I mean, you guys get to hear it. We can do another full-blown video, but I'm gonna end the screenshot and I'm gonna pull the camera back and just talk to you a minute. So, dude, it's like, let me explain something that is so cool. Let me explain this. Sorry, I got like 4 things going on right now. I try to do my videos quick. I don't have time to like really edit and do all that kind of stuff. I try to keep this, not like a channel where it's not really sponsored. I do this because I love it. I'll talk about some of the other stuff that we got going on in here as well. But this room is really good, man. And I think, there was a mastering question. A guy had a question about mastering the other day. And he was like, what do I got to do to get started? And it is the truth. Like your room and your acoustics and how your speakers are set up and the speakers you're using. I mean, all this stuff plays a huge part because I've been in totally different rooms. Like I'll go to a room right now where, I work on stuff and help out and all this stuff. And I just don't hear stuff right in that room. It's weird. I'll work on another studio that they spent a lot of money on, and I'm sort of scratching my head like I just don't hear it the way I want to hear it, and I've worked really hard, and I think if you want to do something at home, something you can do when your finances aren't there, when you don't have the cash, is you can really experiment with your monitor placement, or you can get stuff like Audio-Technica. What are those, the MX50 or MA50s or something like that? Those are really good headphones. They're right here. Whatever these are. What else was I gonna say before I get off the video? The goal is this. This is pretty much where I was leading. You try to find tools when people have this plug-in versus hardware debate. I wanted to bring this up. It's the truth that plugins. I've never heard a plugin do what that does. Okay, I don't hear that. I can't take a plugin and just like drive 7K 15 dBs and say that's it. there's something to be said about the quality of hardware, because there's a designer, there's a company, there's people that put a lot of their heart and their soul into the thing. You know what I mean? Plugins are the same way, and there's certain plugins that can achieve this. But if you're going to be in a modern studio, I think whatever the tools are, it's becoming more common for people, like in my case, that people will like get it to a certain point. They got their EQs, they got their preamps, they're doing their thing, and the thing comes out okay. You know what I mean? But you shouldn't expect yourself. And this is why I'm saying this. So, like, can you follow me on this for a second? Because I'm sort of going off on a tangent. But there's services out there that are starting, like these online digital services, and we master your music for this, and we do this and we do that. But you're not going to impart that sound. You're not going to impart this Rupert Neve on your two bus. You're not going to impart an SSL bus compressor on it. You're dictating your sound quality based on that final step. I mean, from the cables in here to the way that the patch bay is routed, so there is no patching if it doesn't need it, to the way where, the whole entire process is listened to. I don't know how, and the reason that we're getting really involved in mid-side, I don't think these online services do that. I know they don't do that. I mean, they might manipulate the stereo field, but I started thinking, I was like, well, how about if the stereo field was too wide? I don't know how many times I brought a stereo field in, and you might go, dude, I don't want my stereo field brought in. It's just like a hip-hop guy saying, I don't want my bass turned down. You can't even hear anything else. So it's like the stereo field, if it's too wide, it causes this really unnatural phasing, where it's so spread out on the sides that you literally cannot focus, because the low mid information and the whole thing sounds pinched. If you keep panning and panning and panning, you're literally losing stuff. So I'll take that and use something like this Rupert Neve stereo field editor, and I'll pull it back, and I'll put it back in there, and it's like, man, that sounds a lot better. What'd you do, man? Did you widen it? No, I actually brought it in. You lose energy in the lows, the low mids, you lose energy in the highs, you lose, the perception. But I would say this, I don't think people need what you would classify as back in the day mastering. That kind of mastering, I actually used to have a lot of that kind of gear, but it was so subtle, it did nothing. Okay, so you'd have this song that came from an M box or something, and it's this like little tiny thing in this studio. It's like, man, that doesn't sound that great, and that's why the guy probably sent it to me. And we'll start to expand it in. Dude, there was like a spider web on my hands. That was weird. So we'll start to expand it. We'll start to grow that image. We'll start to lift the low mids. We'll start to, pull the mid range. We'll actually use stuff like the 1073s or something, or a pre. Sometimes I'll, call Freddie and be like, hey, Freddie, dude, can I use this or use that? And he's like, yeah, dude, yeah, bring it up here, So we'll use and impart the Manly. We'll impart the Vox boxes. We'll impart something that's going to lift that image and amplify that image correctly. The Portico 2, once we, gather the pair, that is an insane amplification for a song. I know there's a guy right now that's in Nashville that uses that master bus processor pretty much as his whole rack. It has a sound. It is a beautiful, what everybody wants sound. Rupert Neve has designed so much great equipment for this, but once you hear that, it's almost like, are you kidding me? Like, what? I don't know what else to do, So a lot of people, I'll amplify it with a line amp, and I'll bring that song to a whole different level. And now the problem is sometimes is once you do that, and then we're fighting with multi-bands and trying to fix stuff. So every master is different, but that's what I was getting. That's what I was getting at. Like, how can you just send it and just make a carbon copy? If you wanted to do that, go buy that Ozone or some plugins that can, map the spectrum of what you're doing. If you're doing a lot of mixes, I'm going to tell you this. You really are benefiting yourself by spending like the whatever 125 or that we're doing, and just spend the money and just say, okay, I really like this song, and spend the money on the stuff you like that could go somewhere. You could sell, certain amounts of copies. But when we get into this business, I think you really do have to have a passion for the sound quality and the image you're getting and the new gear you're using or whatever, because you might turn out a song that doesn't make money, or you might do something here and it doesn't make money. But I'm going through that right now. I'm actually producing a lot of stuff, and we're working, alongside another gentleman that's given us a very awesome opportunity, and we're putting in a lot of time and waiting on the check. So this business works that way a lot, and I just want to tell you guys this. The thing that got me into it was the passion for trying to create something, and then starting to get close to doing that, and then starting to achieve that, is getting this sound that you go, it actually sounds real, and you sit back and you go, I don't even know how the heck I did that. And then you buy another, like another piece of gear, another converter, or another set of monitors, and you're trying to create this most realistic sound ever. And I think people ask me, what's a great mix? How do you know what great quality is? Well, great quality, I really believe, is when you, as an engineer, capture something that sounds lifelike. So when we're talking about 808s and snares and stuff like that, you're starting to, an 808 doesn't sound lifelike. But then you think about this. As an engineer, I start thinking like, man, that truck that just went down the street had some serious bass. It's boo, we hear it all day. You hear thunder. You hear, rumbling of some sort in some way as you're, going through life, and you're going, dang, that sounded cool. And I think we all pick and choose from stuff like that, and we go, man, I want to make that 808 sound like that, like it's shaking the whole place, What I'm getting at is this, is we all want stuff to sound realistic. We want a voice when we record it to literally sound like they're sitting there with us in the room. That's my goal. Like, how do I make that sound that way? Like, I hear that, but can we make that translate to this? So when it comes to those speakers, and you got to be very, very, very cautious on the way that you treat things. So when you first get into engineering, it's literally like this battle, you know what I mean? You're trying to twist this knob and twist this knob, and man, I'm gonna crush this, and I'm gonna drive this, and maybe I'll do this, and then you go, ooh man, that sounds good, and then you start adding all this other stuff, and you're like literally, using your God-given ability and taking this concept in your head, and you're trying to make that almost a realistic thing through the speaker, right? Well, you got to think about that. Like, think about that. That's what you're doing. So I never cast judgment on anybody's mix, okay? And what I mean by that is this. I learned this very quick and early in my life. Actually, there's a guy that came into my life, and he sort of put the kibosh on that. He said, who are you to tell somebody that, like, their creativity's not good? That's a selfish way of getting into this. Like, if a guy asks me how his song is, well, if I'm here to judge maybe based on the quality of it. Like, if we're trying to work with quality, your quality's not that good, If we're trying to work with, is it going to sell records? I'm not going to get into that, okay? I don't know. Is your voice good? I don't know. I'm not going to tell you that. I'm going to tell you, is the tone of it, is it on time? Is it sitting in a pocket? My job is to take that thing and carve that and make it fit in the song. But if I can't do that, there's a lot of times, especially with accurate monitoring, where you get stuff in and you're like, man, that wasn't on. I'll end with this, okay? Because there's going to be more videos to come. I do sincerely love YouTube. I love this channel. I love what it represents. This channel was built literally on hardware and passion and growth. I mean, like, some of my first videos, dude, like, I didn't have the studio yet. I knew the engineering side of it, but I was continuing to grow. We're all doing that. But I was like, man, I just want to, get back to this and really take time to say, I do appreciate people that watch this channel. I really do. Not for my own benefit, okay? It's not for me. Some of it's for me. I mean, because I do like the interaction between people. You know, there's always going to be, you know, the stuff you got to deal with, but the interaction that I actually get to say, hey man, this is another piece of gear. Hey, this is something that's really cool. Or, you know, if you picked up anything from my videos, I highly appreciate that. And we're all in this. You know what I mean? One guy had a comment, and I want to bring this up. He said you're like us. You know, like. I think what he meant was you're not trying to be something. I'm not trying to be something I'm not. Okay, I don't start tagging my name all over the place just to prove that I have this or have that or I've done this or I've done that. I've been very fortunate in my life to work on some really cool stuff, and you know whether the name's big or not, it's still cool. And I think you can get really actually intimidating and talk yourself out of working on stuff if you take on the wrong attitude. And that wrong attitude is like, yeah, I'm the man and I'm great at this and I'm great at that. It's like, dude, this is just fun and you got to enjoy what you're doing, and if you're not enjoying it, then maybe you should step back from it for a minute, because there are people that come in the studio that want to constantly defeat you and bring you down and tell you, oh, that's not what I wanted, this is what no, we could do that, no, what do you think about this? And the whole time they're doing that, they're not talking about themselves. Like, hey, how about if you like learn to, you know, hold that note, or you know what I mean? Or how about if you just play the bass a little bit tighter? And I learned that early on in my life too. So we'll get into some videos on that as well. But I gotta go. So I'm actually going up to the other studio tomorrow. But once again, I thank you guys for your patience with all this stuff, and especially with the YouTube channel, because I do really take that serious. I really love this channel, and I really believe in it, and I believe in what it stands for. I do believe that we have to support one another as artists, and we have to. I have to actually, that doesn't mean do freebies for one another, because all that does is devalues it even more. I mean, it's just, you know, look out for the next guy. So my name's Doug Jenkins. iMixandMaster.com is my website. If you want to get a hold of me, dude, like hit me up, you know, go to that website and just text me or message me. Actually message me on email, because that's the best way to get a hold of me. I get a lot of phone calls during the day, you know, not like I'm cool or anything, but I do get a lot of phone calls. But that, if you can go onto that site and just say, hey dude, I got an inquiry and I really want to get a master done. We love doing that stuff. And that's how you support my channel. That's all I ask of people. Like, dude, send me a song to master. You know what I mean? And it's like you're benefiting yourself as well. So that's my support to this business. And I hope and pray everybody's, you know, doing what they want to be doing. So I'm out. And we'll have a lot more videos, I promise. But I gotta get like back into like editing. It's not the shooting the video that's the hard part. It's the editing the video and the producing the video and the putting it on this. I'm an audio guy, man. I don't know much about video, but I'm doing okay. So, all right, I'm out of here. I gotta get my laptop and go. We'll see ya.